Hi, I'm Danny Brown, and I am the CEO of Myriad Real Estate Group, and today we're going to talk about things you should consider when choosing a lender. The first thing you should do when you're shopping for a lender is ask around. Odds are that your friends, your family have worked with the lender before that they probably know, like, and trust. But even more so, if you've already selected an agent to work with, I would actually ask them. So for us, we've got 4 lenders that we work with pretty regularly. And I kind of make a sports metaphor where if I'm the quarterback and quarterbacking the transaction, and the lender is a receiver, and I've worked with that lender or that receiver for years, I know where they're going to be, I know when they're going to be there, they know how I'm going to operate, and it's just going to be a very smooth and seamless transaction because of the level of experience that we have working together. Now, if you're working with somebody who's not one of our 4 recommended, will we get the job done? Absolutely. We can work with anyone, but there will be some bumps along the road that come up just due to the lack of knowledge that we have of how each other operate. So I think that reaching out and asking your agent, but also asking your family and friends if they have recommendations on a lender is going to be super important. Number 2 is finding a great communicator. So in another video that I did about looking for a realtor, communication was the number 1 topic. It is just as important when you are shopping for a lender because there are so many questions that come up during this transaction and process that you're going to have, that you're going to want somebody that you can pick up the phone and call and know that they're going to answer on the other line. I really don't personally like working with the big banks when it comes to purchasing a home because you're just dealing with data call centers. And so anytime that you're calling them, you have to explain who you are, what you're calling about, what your problem is. Like, it just takes so much extra time and steps, where if you're working with somebody that's a little bit smaller, they're going to have a much higher level of service. When you call them with questions or you email them, it's going to go straight to them or their processor on their team, and they're going to be able to get back to you much, much faster. And so that level of communication is going to be incredibly important. Number 2 leads right into number 3, where I believe that you should work with somebody who is local and relatively smaller in size. Again, I don't like working with the big banks. Chase, Wells Fargo, Quicken Loans, Bank of America. They're a little bit clunky when it comes to purchases. They can be great when it comes to refis, but when you're purchasing a home, it's a really in-depth process. And so those banks can really complicate things. So you want to work with somebody that's going to be running a smaller team, a little bit more boutique style, that is local to your state and your city, that knows the laws, that knows the contracts, and is really in tune with the market that you are in. And again, it makes that number 2, communication, that much easier as well. Number 4 is hunting for the right rates and for somebody who has more than one product to choose from. None of us want to have a ton of credit inquiries on our credit. However, FICO, the company that controls all of our credit scores, wants you to shop for the best lender that's going to be out there. So we typically recommend checking with 3 different lenders overall to make sure that you're getting really good rate, that your fees are in line, and that they have good loan products that match up to what your needs are. I have a prime example that we're going through right now where we were helping a buyer and she found her own lender and they almost ruined the transaction. They tried to fit her into a specific product that didn't work for her. We brought her over to one of our preferred lenders. We had to extend the closing by about 10 days, but he had access to more options. She slid right into one of those options and the deal is actually closing tomorrow. So it's making sure that the lender has options and isn't trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. There are a lot of different loan programs out there, and again, some of your big banks have just 2 or 3 options to choose from, and not everybody falls into that one category. So it's really important to shop around. So checking with 2, 3, 4 different lenders is going to be really important. They also have to provide you fee sheets. And so you can request these fee sheets and you can compare the lenders. And I always say, Send the fee sheet over to the other one and see what they're willing to do. Then take that fee sheet and send it to the other one and start to get them to kind of shop against each other, because you can get those rates to come down, you can get those fees to come down so that you're getting the best deal possible. And so doing all those things, FICO wants you to do that, and it's only going to count as one credit inquiry. Finally, it's trust. You know, you are going to be providing a lot of financial information to this individual, so you have to trust them. And, you know, I usually recommend going with your gut instinct, because 9 times out of 10, your gut instinct is going to be the right one. And so you really need to trust that individual, again, because you're going to be providing them bank statements. You know, they're going to be looking at your pay stubs, your tax returns. They're going to be asking you about your personal life. I mean, I remember when I was buying a house, and my wife and I, my now wife, we weren't married. And I had to write a letter to the underwriter stating why we were buying a house together and we weren't married. And I thought it was ridiculous, but I had to provide them that documentation on why we were buying a house. And so there's going to be some ludicrous things that you're going to have to go through, but you have to trust that that person has your best interests at heart, and that the reason they're asking these questions and going through these financial documents is so that they can basically put your financial life in a nice little package so that they can eventually sell you off to one of the big banks. I hope this video helped answer some of your questions about how to go about choosing the right lender for you. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like and a subscribe. And if you had any questions at all, please leave it in the comments, and we will see you next time.